Cold weather settles in across the northern hemisphere. For many of us, our chickens are beginning to spend more time in the coop and less time out in the yard and even in the runs. But confined chickens like us get bored, and bored chickens get in trouble, kind of like these two. Today, the guys have 5 boredom busters to help your chickens escape the wintertime blahs and avoid the bad behaviors that can result. So stick around. To begin, we've got a question from one of our awesome viewers, Rennie DH. Asked a while back, Brian made a comment regarding egg color to the effect of true speckled eggs are rare. Might you please elaborate or expand on this topic?
Good question. I believe this was from a video that we did on our old channel a while back when we talked about chickens that lay speckled eggs. We're working on getting those older videos re-edited so we can get them reposted. But in the meantime, hopefully we've got some insight into what we were talking about. Eggshell color is determined by genetics, and all eggshells in chickens begin by the formation of calcium carbonate. It's a white mineral. Now, with certain genes, no changes are made to that calcium carbonate, and the eggs are going to be laid white, right?
Absolutely. However, there are a couple of processes that can change those white globes of tastiness different colors, right? So the first happens during egg cell formation, where if certain genes are present, a bile salt, bilirubin, is mixed in and basically turns that white calcium carbonate blue, and you end up with blue eggshells. The second option occurs during the final stages of egg development, where a brown, basically, pigment is added if those genes are present, giving you the different shades of brown that we see. If both sets of genes, both blue and brown, are present, you get a mixture and end up with some shade of green. And that's basically your egg color options when it comes to chicken eggs.
Yeah.
Genetically, those are your options. Any other variation, you can see a little bit based on the bloom, the thickness of the bloom, but those are your 3 basic color options for eggs.
Yeah, so there really isn't a chicken breed that will always produce a speckled egg. Now, there are some individual chickens within a breed that will routinely or frequently lay speckled eggs, but you can't say, okay, I got this breed, that means I'm going to get speckled eggs. Now, there are some breeds that are more likely to lay a speckled egg. So while any chicken can, in theory, lay that speckled egg, if there's some sort of bump or hiccup in the egg laying process, and I think this is the differentiation I was trying to make. I don't remember exactly what I said in that video, but there's lots of things that can cause speckling in eggs. Sometimes you have chickens that just, when that brown pigment is being applied right before being laid, they just leave spotty brown pigment on there. Sometimes it's calcium deposits that are going to get more or less of those pigments in them. So there's all sorts of different things that can occur to cause those speckled eggs. But really, certain breeds, they seem to be genetically disposed to laying speckled eggs. And that's really what we mean by a breed that lays a speckled egg.
In our defense, scientists don't know the answer to that question either.
Yeah.
They have some theories. There's 2 or 3 things like, it's the rotation or egg membrane. So no one knows for sure, but there's they have some theories as to why that happens and why that probably appears more frequently in some breeds than others.
Yeah, there's some theories that make some pretty good sense too.
So great question.
Yeah.
And we'll hopefully get into that more later on.
I know I can't wait for that video. I probably won't be able to sleep for weeks. But it was a fantastic question, so thank you very much. If any of you have other questions, please just drop them in the comments. We love to see your comments. We love to see your questions. We love to answer your questions, and hopefully it helps. So now, let's get into the boredom busters. Mm-hmm. So let me start out by asking, why should you provide boredom busters for your chickens?
So just to clarify, boredom busters, they're fine all year long, right? They're a good thing at all times. but especially in the winter. In the summer, my chickens, they run out and they're in the yard. They're doing things all day long. Yeah. In the winter, like me, they're looking out the window saying, "Oh, I ain't going out there," right? They're staying in the coop. So there's a lot more indoor time, closer space, sitting around. It can get boring. They don't even have Netflix, right? So it's extra bad for them, and that leads to sometimes bad behaviors.
You have
right?
power out to your coop, don't you?
Well, I do.
See,
But they don't. they don't get
Netflix.
Netflix. No. Nope. Egg eating, right? Feather picking, bullying, those types of things. They often originate from bored hens looking for something to do.
Yeah, and really the primary culprit of mischief is space, or more specifically, a lack of it. We all need our personal space, but when they're all confined in a coop, well, then it's hard to maintain that personal space. Somebody's always in your bubble. And the more timid members of the flock, they like the quiet, darkened space to escape the more aggressive members of the flock. The more aggressive members, they want to get in that space. So space is important, and it's important for them to get out and exercise as well during the colder months. So letting them out on nicer days is still a good practice, even if you might have to go out and shovel a little snow before you do it. But the simple truth is they're likely spending more time in a smaller space, and they're getting that cabin fever as a result.
So do they like going out in the snow, and how much snow will they try to trudge through?
Depends on the bird. I've had some chickens in my flock who, kind of like Steve described, they'll poke their head out and see that snow, and they're like, nah. But then I have others that are just bounding through the snow, like a dog that loves playing fetch in the snow. So, you never can tell. Some of them like it, some of them don't.
All right. So what can be done to help prevent boredom and bad behavior?
Well, the first boredom buster that you can use to really help your girls not only be entertained, but also increase the amount of exercise they get, is simply adding some additional roosts or logs or things to climb on and jump on. A little indoor jungle gym to them is entertaining, and it gives them the opportunity to do some different things, have some fun, and explore their whole world from a different point of view. So that's a great option.
It is. And in addition to hopping on and off things, another thing chickens like to do, scratch. Right?
Yes.
So give them something to dig through, right? A pile of hay or a bale of straw gives them something to kind of pick through and dig through, especially if you throw a few, treats, throw some scratch grains or a few mealworms into that pile so they can dig through and find little nuggets of goodness in there. It gives them exercise, gives them something to do, and keeps them busy through the day as they kind of dig through and tear through that stuff.
Yeah, another thing you can do, another boredom buster, is to give them some sort of toys to play with, something to interact with. Something as simple as a small acrylic mirror securely mounted on the wall will get their attention, and they'll be fascinated by what they see to it. Even some old CDs or something like that, if they're really shiny, just nail those to the wall and they'll be entertained by that. Although if you do have a rooster, they might not like it very much to see a reflection that shows them another rooster. That actually might get them spun up a little bit. So there's other toys you can give them, things like a swing. They like to swing on a swing. Steve, you've had a xylophone in your coop before for them to peck at and make different sounds. So anything that they can really interact with and play with can help them with the boredom.
So did they really like the xylophone?
They peck at it. I don't know that they like no one wrote me, "Dear Steve, thanks for the xylophone. This was the best Christmas ever." I never got any of those or anything.
They weren't all lined up. No. My turn.
No. Okay. But,
Would you get another one?
Yeah, I think there's one. There might even be one out there now. I'm not sure.
All right.
So, but the other thing that you can add to the coop is a dust bath, right? So during the summer, right, chickens are constantly, you look out there and they're in the flower garden or the garden or wherever else, right, preening and taking care of those feathers. In the winter, they still need to take care of those feathers. That's when a lot of problems with mice and lights can happen because that's not an option. right? When the ground's frozen solid outside or covered in snow, it's difficult for them to dust bathe. Taking some shallow pots or buckets filled with some loose soil and watch them go crazy, right? They'll have a little time to sit down and just relax and clean those feathers. It gives them something to do, something to kind of break up boredom, and it helps them maintain those feathers so they can stay in primo condition to keep them warm through the winter.
Yep. And boredom buster number 5 is treats. Who doesn't love treats? Come on. But you have to be careful when giving your chickens treats. You still want to make sure that they're getting proper nutrition and your flock isn't just filling up on treats and getting fat on them. That said, in moderation, giving your chickens treats can really be an excellent boredom buster. Maybe you hand a suet or a flock block to them and they're going to peck at it through the day. Maybe you string up a cabbage on a string and they could peck at it. Something they got to really work at to get their treat. That can help. You can string up other fresh vegetables as well. You can load a bunch of corn or grain into a plastic bottle that has just a few holes in it. And that'll keep them entertained as they roll it around and try and peck out the kernels of corn. So there's all sorts of ways you can feed your treats to your chickens that's going to keep them entertained.
How about Reese's peanut butter cups?
I wouldn't advise giving them the peanut butter cups.
Oh.
No. Because there's
Giving those
never
away.
any just peanut butter cups laying around that nobody wants to give to them anyway.
All right, so I counted 5 there. None of those seem too difficult or expensive.
Yeah, and that's just it, right? So these are simple, inexpensive techniques that you can employ to stave off larger problems, right? The old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Mm-hmm. That's really a boredom buster, right? A few bucks on a bale of straw or sitting out a dust bath is going to stave off a problem with mites or feather pecking or egg eating. It's worth it.
Yeah, we came up with 5 that we've both used and found effective, but we'd love to hear the additional ideas that you guys have come up with. Maybe you've got an idea we want to try. So if you've got a great secret weapon for helping your chickens escape the wintertime blues, well, share it in the comments, please. We love to read those comments.
Yes, please. Again, also leave questions or other feedback as well. And with that, we've reached the part of the video where I look longingly into the camera and say, like, subscribe, and happy hobby farming.